special Sunday repeated on Wednesday program, and this is
the Mojo Hand, the winning boys magic.
Marge, this ticket doesn't just give me a seat. It also gives me the right, no, the duty to make a complete ass of myself.
But as for me, I'm off to battle aliens on a faraway planet.
Hello, operator, give me the number for 911.
Who sent you here? Can't talk, little man? Bet can't play none either.
I could pull a better cartoon out of my ass. Hey, whoa! Wasn't that great, kid?
Oh, bitch.
Kill my boss! Do I dare live out the American dream?
Overload. Pleasure overload.
Uh-oh. 2 independent thought alarms in one day.
Good morning,
Wood Ticks and Patriots.
And for those of you who don't know, this is a wood tick, and this is what they do. They attach themselves to you. They attach themselves to your neighbor, and they suck the blood right out of you. Kind of reminds me of a Democrat. A Democrat. Wood Ticks and Patriots. Welcome to the show today. We have stuff to talk about. Pardon me, I got a frog in my throat. Not a tick. Not a tick. Frog. We're going to talk about teenagers and murder. We're going to talk about the nightclub scene. If y'all haven't heard this news story, it's actually kind of interesting. And for those of you who club, beware. Buyer beware. RV Wade, of course, is still in the news. We got some little tidbits on that coming out of New Haven, Connecticut. Old news. West Yellowstone. The Village Idiots. Oh, wait. That would be a wood tick. Yes, a wood tick. And the Afghans are back in the news. The Taliban are talking swearing that they're going to eradicate the poppy crop. You buy that one? If you're buying into that one, you might be a wood tick. And then I have that little wellness jingle there. Somebody calling in already. And then we have a pile of news that from Wisconsin, where Lake Wish I Be Gone is located. From the shores of Lake Wish I Be Gone, I bring you today's show from the bunker. Be prepared. There's some interesting stuff. I'll be right back, and we will go and talk about that stuff and more. Hey, welcome back. Let's get right to it. Don't forget if you have a news story that you want to send in, have me take a look at. I'm not guaranteeing that I will do all the stuff that comes in. And trust me, we get a lot of news at JustJimShow.com. I try to do a mix. Now I don't. Now I don't. I'm sorry. If the local stuff
from Lake Wish I'd be gone is
important enough, we'll put it in.
Throw a little anecdote
but
in there.
But I still talk about
national stuff,
that nobody else talks about. And that's the way it is. And here's a story. Here's a story. Eric came in on the AP line. 10 teenagers guilty of murdering 8-year-old walking home from where? A fun fair. Isn't that special? Hello. Special. Today's news. It's like a blue plate special. Today's news. 10 teenagers have been found guilty of murder after fatally attacking an 8-year-old as he walked home from a fun fair. You know, the best of intentions just don't work out. Now, never mind. I'd go on and on. A court heard how Jack Woodley was surrounded and isolated by a gang who chased him down an alleyway by a pub in Hottenless Spring in Sunderland. Now, this isn't America. But trust me. This shit. There's a quarter. Is happening all around. And it just happened in Lake Wish I'd be gone. Just yesterday. We got a notice from the sheriff's department. Anyway, he was punch kicked, stamped and stabbed with a 25 centimeter long Rambo style during the attack on October 16th last year. So he's going to court. These guys are going to court faster than they do here in America. Because we'll get some slime ball attorney to keep postponing for 5 years. Till they get to court. Welcome to part of the problem in America. My America, your America. That you can't bring justice as fast and as furious to the courtroom as the Democrats will try and take your guns away, which we right here about children and safety. You're not going to like what you're about to hear today. One of the teenagers already pled guilty to manslaughter, admitting that he stabbed Mr. Woodley, denying that he intended to kill him. Okay, and all of these stories today are going to the education and social standings of our next generation of quote unquote leaders in society. How can you stab somebody and not expect them to die? And I'm thinking I'd have to read the coroner's report about where he was stabbed. Just befuddles how this crap can go on. And it ain't just happening in America. In Chicago, south of here. It's not happening in Buffalo. It's not happening in Philadelphia. It's not happening in Texas. Is it? Oh, somebody's calling me. Somebody's calling in today. I better turn that down. Yo, what's up?
Your audio is double audio really bad.
Oh no! All right, well hang on. Tech support calling in, telling me to shut the f up or take care of it. All right, you're on the air, buddy. I'll talk to you later. Oh lordy! I guess we're having a problem. And we're going to doubling back. Why am I doubling back? Why? I got to take a 2-second break here and see what's going on. I'll be right back. Oh, we're doubling back. Why? All right, we're back, but I don't. Where is it? There we go. Maybe that'll take care of it. Hang on 2 seconds. I have to do some techie stuff. Techie. Here we come. None. That's good. I got to go back to this cam. Hang on 2 seconds, folks. We're going to... None. Built-in none. None! We've been having software problems galore. And we're going to none there. All right. Let's go back. Is that better? Give me a text. All right. Rumor has it I'm good again. Yay! I'm telling you, I'm probably about done with this software. It continues to have problems, and I've paid dearly for it. But I'm going to tell you, when I decide if I'm going off of it, I'm going to tell you what it was and not to buy it. That's right. I'm tired of beta testing their software after paying the licensing fees. Anyway, long story short, I was talking about these 10 teenagers who followed some child home, another teenager home, and murdered him. And then they say, well, I stabbed him, but I never intended to kill him. Yeah, but do. What do you stab somebody? Well, because it's your new greeting. You want to be good with this other person? Oh, Lordy. Here we go. That's the name of that thing. Now, kind of sort of on the same venue. Oh, look at that. This is Nobody Gives a Poop, but guess what? You have news stories, send it in. Right here. This is happening in France. I told somebody about this, and their jaw dropped. And obviously they were not a wood tick. Coming out of Paris on the EP, across France, more than 300 people have reported being pricked out of the blue with needles. Yes, needles. Injection. Getting the poke, as it were. No, that ain't the right kind of poke. Wait a minute, where is that? Yeah, bad joke. Bad joke. With needles at nightclubs or concerts in recent months. Doctors and multiple prosecutors are on the case. You betcha. But no one knows who's doing it or why, and whether the victims have been injected with drugs or indeed any substance at all. Or what? Are the needles drug user needles that are infected with AIDS virus? Wait a minute. I didn't just say that. But people are out like at going to a fun fair, youngsters, because they can't go to the clubs. But they go to the clubs to dance, listen to music, live bands, whatever. And all of a sudden they're getting poked. They're getting jabbed. And trust me, it ain't with a CV dose. Might be. On May 14th, an 18-year-old Thomas Laux attended a rap concert in Lille in northern France, where he smoked a bit of marijuana and drank some alcohol during the show. Bad boy. When he came home, he told the Associated Press he was feeling dizzy and had a headache, and he spotted a strange little skin puncture on his arm and a bruise. So he got poked. The next morning, the symptoms didn't appear, and Laux went to his doctor, who advised him to go to the emergency room. Medics confirmed evidence of a needle prick, and Laux was tested for HIV and hepatitis. His results came out negative, thank God, like other victims so far. So somebody's just are they using a fresh needle every time they poke somebody? Or do they poke somebody in a dance floor who might be HIV positive and then go stick somebody else with the needle? Same needle. Are they practicing good needle practices? Hundreds of kilometers away, this isn't just one city. This is hundreds of kilometers. That would be more than miles. Leanne Desnos recounted a similar experience after going to a club in the southwest city of Bordeaux in April. She was also 18, passed out the next day and felt dizzy and got hot flashes while at a fast food restaurant. When she got home, she realized she had an injection mark on her arm. After having seen testimony on social media about mystery pricks, she went to a clinic, got tested for infections. She's still awaiting results. This has been reported in Paris, Toulouse, Nantes, Nancy, Rennes, and other cities around France. They've been all reported to have been poked with a needle without their knowledge or, permission. What the heck is that? What is permission nowadays? Does anybody really know? Who needs permission for anything? As the young generation says, as they're caught doing 70 in a 40-mile-an-hour zone, well, those signs are just suggestions. We don't need that. That doesn't mean anything. Permission to run around and poke people with needles. What's next? Stabbings, or dare I say, Uvalde type events? Who needs permission? France's National Police Agency say so far 302 people have filed formal complaints about such needle pricks. Several police investigations are ongoing. They're on the case. Yep. And a lot of people listening to this show are going to say, Jim, you're anti-police. Not so. But when I see agents armed and supposedly trained in what's supposed to be happening, Uvalde, how to stop perpetrators, they're on the case. Remember that, okay? Yep. No victims have reported sexual assaults. One said he was robbed. That was in April. 2 people tested positive for GHB, and they might have ingested the drug in a drink. According to the official with the National Police Agency, GHB is a powerful anesthetic used by predators seeking to sexually abuse or assault victims. It can be detected only in urine for 12 hours. So if you go in the next morning, 24 hours later, or the next day, you're kind of out of luck. The official and a doctor who is taking the leading role in dealing with this phenomenon expressed doubt that nightclub pricks contain GHB, noting that to penetrate via the needle, the drug needs to be injected for several seconds, which most victims would notice. Well, let alone trying to keep off your dancing, blah, 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 and you're moving around, shaking that groove thing. Perhaps the needle and the hand won't stay connected. I'm sorry. I got to laugh at that commentary. Oh, God. Anyway, the club goers expressing fear on social networks and media coverage, fueling anxiety. The French Interior Ministry launched a national awareness campaign this month. That would be like the National Highway Patrol, Safety Patrol, or whatever. They're doing all these anti-texting messages being paid for with your tax dollars. Not that that's a bad message, because I'm telling you, when you're driving down the highway out here in rural America and somebody's wandering real close to the center line, you know what they're doing. They're texting, reading their social media shit. There's another quarter. I'm telling you, I muster a fair amount of money through the swear jar. No one knows how prevalent spiking is. They're calling it spiking, not sticking a needle in your arm. Whether by drink, drug, or needle, and no one knows what causes perpetrators to do it. What causes anybody to do anything that is absolutely illegal? You tell me. Do you know? Can you take a wild guess? I know. It's the AR-15s that they make people do crazy, crazy things. Right? Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, here's a personal note that has stuck in my craw for decades. When I see people trying to sue gun manufacturers for manufacturing a gun, that's, oh, wait a minute, guess what? They pay taxes, they employ people, Social Security benefits, medical benefits. They're licensed, quote unquote, by the U.S. government, Department of whatever, and they make an item. So does Goodyear. So does Firestone. The tires that get put on cars that drive drunks from bar to bar to bar and kill people. They are no less liable than a gun manufacturer. And I'm telling you, we lost a niece to a drunk driver. I have a personal connection to the lawsuit that should have been filed against Firestone or Goodyear, BF Goodrich, Continental. The list goes on. It's funny how the trickle-down mentality of the people in power stop at a certain point. Because you could, was the bullet manufacturers not liable? The magazine manufacturers not liable? Since the car manufacturers are not liable for having available a vehicle to drive from bar to bar to bar, but the bartender who overserves somebody is liable. So is that where the buck stops? Does the buck stop with the bartender? What about the liquor manufacturer that gets poured into a glass, that gets chugged down a throat, that wanders down the road and kills somebody? Where the hell does this stop? Where's the insanity? Nobody's ever responsible. Nobody's responsible for anything anymore. So what do you mean? What makes perpetrators stick people with a needle in a dance club? We better form 5 committees, stack them with a whole pile of people, and have a bunch of meetings to figure this one out. And then after the findings come down, we can argue about whether there was somebody with a PhD or just a doctor's credentials. Are they qualified to make that decision? The UK Parliament issued a report in April on drink and needle spiking in pubs and nightclubs after a sudden surge. That means it's been going on for a while, according to the English language. No one knows how prevalent spiking is. A series of similar incidents involving people pricked with needles at nightclubs, a soccer game, and during the Belgian Pride Parade. We have a Belgian Pride Parade? You're proud to be Belgian? I'm just asking. They've been reported in neighboring Belgium. Last month, the Brussels prosecutor's office opened 2 investigations following complaints from women who said they were jabbed during the Pride Parade in downtown Brussels. No, they're just sharing the love. Come on. Back in France, as investigations continue with no perpetrators found, rapper Dinos interrupted his concert in Strasbourg this week to warn his fans about the risk, and insisted, this has to stop. Sounds like Beto standing up saying, we have to do something, anything, just something. This just befuddles me, but it doesn't surprise me. Now with this report, somebody's going to decide that this weekend, we got to go out and stab some people with a needle. Oh, lordy. I can talk forever on shit like that. Because it's all interconnected. I hate to say this. It is all interconnected. Our whole family structure, mental stability, or lack thereof, these incidences are all the same. And I'll take you right back in Wisconsin. And it doesn't matter. It's international. It just happened in Wisconsin. Southern Wisconsin. It's called Slender Man. Do you remember that incident? The mental availability to some make-believe, made-up piece of crap swayed these 2 young women to go stab, I don't know, what was it, 17, 18 times? Because some fictitious image on a computer screen in a school, which we're going to circle back to in a few minutes, decided that this was an acceptable form of internet presence within my school districts, your school districts, and trust me, it's happening all over the country. This one just got totally out of hand, Slender Man. And yeah, it was a month or so ago I did the story. They were appealing to have one of these perpetrators get let out of school, get let out of the nut house. Because you show people, excuse me, intelligent people with degrees XYZ behind their names testified in the courtroom that she showed no signs of instability since she's been in the nut house. I'm going to guarantee she was pretty well doped up. Guaranteed it. And they're going to say she's now okay to wander around society after some judge will go, well, we'll just put an injunction on her like a hacker. She can't be anywhere near a computer. That way we'll eliminate that, like that's going to happen. You and I both know that doesn't happen. They find a way. Kids find a way. The list goes on and on. It's been going on for so long. People don't put 2 and 2 together. If they do, they get 8. And that ain't true. How about the national, I'm going to go incident to incident I know about. How about the National Texting Championship? Just north of here, north of Lake Wish I Be Gone, holds a National Texting Championship. While in school, using my tax dollars and your tax dollars to indiscriminately enter a contest, though in that person's pocket, text. The kids know how to text. They know how to text like you. They could put 10 texts out, just between you turning from the stove to look at them. So in our classrooms, in front of a teacher, in violation of school policy, you better look up your local school policies. If you don't know what they are, you're damn 2 days late. There you get another quarter. It's going to be a good show. And they win a national texting championship using my taxpayer-supported and purchased internet system. Oh, we have to give our kids more access to the internet than we had because it's good for them. My ass, it's good for them. The teachers don't know what the hell is going on. Even today, if you walk through your school system and challenged any teacher teaching our kids, your kid, they'll swear to God they need the internet, untethered, unfeathered, because they might find something that's educational. They might. A school curriculum is supposed to be defined, and I'm not saying absolutely stringent, because the internet will return information based on a query. And if parent, you don't know what a query is, you better go get educated. By a student and come back with, oh, that site is blocked. I do get that. I'm an old programmer. I get it. But this unaccountable, no responsibility for anything, because and I'll hear what they're going to say. Well, I'm only one person and I got 32 children in my class. I can't be hovering over everybody's keyboard. I get it. Hence the IT department's inability to oversee the activity and traffic coming and going from every classroom and every computer. Yes, the IT department needs to be the responsible department that a teacher has to rationalize via a process to say, here's my curriculum I'm going to teach. Well, there's a curriculum department. Maybe we ought to be talking to them. and I need to teach this subject or this line of within a subsector within a subject. So I need access to XYZ potential information coming back to a student who's typing in what is, not some prepackaged software that says we've checked it out for you. Worst thing you can do as a parent, allow that line, oh, we use this software package. Poppycock. I'm going to say it outright. Poppycock. Absolutely an excuse. A teacher needs to verify the rationale why that website needs to be open, not because somebody else says it's safe. As a provider, years ago, I used to tell a security provider of internet information to businesses, business to business. Everybody goes, oh, well, what's the best antivirus software I can use for my corporation? None. My answer to them, point blank, none. There is no guarantee, no turnkey guarantee in that business. Wasn't about 2001 when we were dealing a lot with it. There still isn't. There's a lot of flag waivers out there that say, oh, yeah, use our stuff. We're safe. We'll guarantee your safety, but only if you have LifeLock or only if you have some other secondary organization to bail you out if their software fails. Consider that little chain of command. We'll sell you our software for your entire organization, but you better have LifeLock or some other tracking system when ours fails. I'm telling you, everyone fails. Every one of them fails. Every one of them. It's not a matter of if it'll fail. It's a matter of when it will fail. And there are companies who are trying to distance themselves from the man behind the curtain with their financial programs and processes internally, trying to bring it inside, saying, okay, ultimately we can probably do a better job than hiring somebody else to do it. I get that, but it's usually not true. It's only a matter of when. And what is it you're willing to lose? From internet security, here we go. Let's jump into Roe versus Wade. I don't want to talk about this. Y'all will have your own opinions, your parameters, the limit by which you think it should or shouldn't be effective. But with Roe in doubt, states weigh letting nurses do abortions. Did you hear this one on the 10 o'clock news? Probably not. New Haven, Connecticut, abortion rights advocates saw a problem. A problem? What problem? There's no problem. Killing babies. Selling baby parts. Don't get me started. There's a limited pool of medical providers who can legally perform abortions. Okay. In some states, one solution has been to authorize more providers beyond just physicians. You hearing that one? Did you hear that one? Beyond just physicians. Again, the doctorate hanging on the wall. It's just a suggestion. We can let anybody perform an abortion. They don't have to be a doctor. But to allow other providers, such as advanced practice registered nurses, physician assistants, and certified nurse midwives. Here we go. First responders should be able to do this procedure anyway. They're just as qualified or, well, in case of emergency. To perform early-term abortions, changes in state laws were needed. So this is your abortion rights activists, your flag-waving people. Yep. These legislative drives gained increased urgency once leaked. Yeah, right. Wait a minute. We were just talking about software and how secure it was. Nothing ever gets out. Trust. Oh boy, but if you got LifeLock, they'll sort it out for you. Yeah. The Supreme Court draft opinion showed the justices appear ready to overturn RVW. All of these restrictions and bans that we're seeing across the country are pointing to more progressive states in the direction of how do we expand care? Listen, how do we expand care? The English language is very definitive. Care. Can you define the term care? Just the word, care. How do we expand care? That is a quote, unquote, said Elizabeth Nash, state policy analyst for the Guttmacher Institute in New York. Of course it's in New York. Where else would this come from? A think tank that supports abortion rights. A think tank. If you used, wait a minute, I got that gone already. Let me open it up again. I don't have it here. Never mind. I don't think I do. Nope. No, I don't. Anyway, if you were thinking, I was going to put a wood tick up there again. See if I could. I don't know if I have it out here. Nope, I don't. If you were thinking at all, a think tank, and they're not smart enough to actually understand the definition of the word care. If you care about something, you'll protect it. If you care about something, you'll help it. If you care about something, won't you nurture it? I don't get it. Where in the world does this group call themselves a think tank? Can't be thinking about anything except what cocktail they're gonna have at 5 o'clock. The proposed provider expansion faced pushback from critics. They say letting non-doctors perform abortions could put women's health at risk, especially if medical complications arise. And they question whether mid-level practitioners are qualified. I'm going to tell you something. There are some mid-level professionals in the healthcare business that aren't nearly as qualified as first responders and EMT medics out in the field. I was a responder for a while. I have seen some EMTs up at the higher echelon that perform miracles, what I consider to be damn near a miracle, because it's so far over my pay grade, where they patched together, held people together, got them on a helicopter and back to an ER, and saved their lives. That's what I call caring. Somebody walks into the scene of a crime, an accident, a fire, and y'all are running your asses out the door and they're walking in, taking care of people. That's care, not hook or crook in a room. Sorry, my personal opinion. I know, I'm all wet. What should these laws do? This is how they're looking to play this out. The goal, supporters say, is to expand abortion access ahead of a potential influx of out-of-state patients. Well, if you're dumb enough to think that you can institute these laws, you're going to have every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Harriet showing up at your doorstep. Yeah, the influx of patients. Well, they're not patients because you're not a doctor. You can't care for somebody. Doctors care for somebody. The various proposals authorize advanced practitioners to do medication abortions in clinic abortions or both. See, they're not being definitive. You can only do this, that, or this. No, anything. It's just a suggestion. The abortion rights advocates say to these clinicians, see, now I'm not a responder anymore. I'm a clinician. Yeah. Often perform more complicated procedures such as IUD insertions, early miscarriage management, and endometrial biopsies, a procedure where a small piece of the lining of the uterus is removed to check for cancer or other tissues. That's kind of sort of job specific, isn't it? Job specific, not just a suggestion. Supporters say randomized trials have shown that aspiration abortions, a common early-term abortion that involves a suctioning procedure. Have you ever seen the end result of that? Can be safely performed by these clinicians. The terminology that libtards use is absolutely ridiculous. They bend the English language to meet their end goal. We know that procedure is effective. Of course it's effective. You stick a vacuum up there, guess what happens? And as incredibly as low as 1% complication rate, said Amanda Skinner, CEO of Planned Parenthood of Southern New England. Don't get me started on Planned Parenthood. Oh, Lord. Who is opposed when lawmakers in Connecticut considered a provider expansion bill earlier this year? The state's medical society warned of a potential slippery slope. You know, why don't you call it like it is? Ludicrous. Not a slippery slope. Toward what it called mid-level providers doing surgical procedures, which are more risky. You know, absolutely. It's today this. Have you ever... Don't you get how we work in America? You get this today, you get that tomorrow. You already know what that's going to be because you figure you're going to get the first thing, and then you get the second thing, and then you get the third thing. Among those who are against expanding the goal is Carol Tobias, president of the National Right to Life Committee. Excuse me. I have to have a drink. And don't forget to get your swag from the Just Jim Show. It's not a surprise that states would loosen or change the requirements of who can do them, she said, calling it a sign of desperation. They're willing to put more women's lives at risk. You know, and I'll be honest with you, there's a certain amount of dose of reality to that statement. As a responder, an ex-responder, the common term that we used amongst ourselves, unbeknownst to you, our potential patient driving through the North Woods, if you don't use it, you lose it. Hence our practice sessions, and very specific procedures, from cannulas to IVs to setting simple broken bones or not, making that decision. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And that's what's wrong on the surface, in the real world of what these people are proposing. You either have to have a, wait a minute, clinician constantly doing a practice, a procedure, or they fumble about. Kind of like Uncle Albert. They fiddle about because they're unsure of what they do. Hence the term MD, medical doctor. And why do they specialize? A general practitioner will send you to an internist to have a diagnosis because that's what people do. They go in and they take care of a specific area of practice in the medical world. So I can hear it now. I see where they're going because a clinician will ultimately, because lack of due diligence, will end up having to be certified by the state. Wait a minute, and what does certification mean? A revenue stream. We're going to have a special group of clinicians that are highly trained, I'll give them 2-3 months of training, in how to do abortions. I'm telling you, here's the roadmap. This is what's going to happen. My crystal ball, here's my crystal ball on certain days. Water. It's transparent. I see right through this crap. This is what's going to happen. The state will magically come up with a new revenue stream. Well, if it's going to happen, we might as well make some money off of it because our tax coffers are broke. We don't make enough money. Let's tax a wheel. Look, welcome back to another conversation I just finished earlier in the show. Shouldn't my wheel manufacturers, since now you're making money from them, be held liable for letting drunks drive from point A to point B and kill people? Absolutely. You can't have it both ways. It doesn't balance out. The Moody Blues said it perfectly. There is a question of balance. There always is. Lawmakers, oh, God. What about more conservative states? Oh, there you go. It's us and them, but they're really not them. They're just lifelong politicians. They're not us and them. North Carolina is surrounded by states with so-called trigger laws, which would immediately ban abortion if Roe was overturned. The state already has a shortage of physicians who perform abortions. Oh, novel idea. Let's just call them clinicians. And they'll likely get worse if out-of-state women start seeking abortions, said Representative Julie Van Hoffen, a Democrat. A Democrat. We have 100 counties in North Carolina. 93 of those counties do not have abortion providers. Oh, woe is me. All of our abortion clinics are centralized in our urban areas. So that's going to cause a big problem. Problem. There's already a problem. Many talk show hosts talk about it. Nebraska abortion rights lawmakers and lobbyists say they focused on successfully fighting off a new law or two other anti-abortion bills this year. If fight off, it's just like the proposed quote-unquote bipartisan gun control laws that they're cooking up behind closed doors. Who watches C-SPAN? I don't know. I don't. Hey, you don't like what I'm saying? Use it right in. News at the JustJimShow.com. Just Jim. Okay, I stumbled all over that one. Let me know what you think. I may or may not even care. But send it in. Feel free to like and subscribe. It'll always let you know when we're back on the air. Boy, my place is a mess. Look at this thing. I'm a mess in here. Wow, I suppose I should clean this thing up. And don't forget to get your merchandise. Just Jim, show your support. It's the swag. Shit we ain't getting. Another quarter just for you. And with that, I'll be right back. We're talking a little long today because there's so much interesting stuff to talk about. Be cool. Here I've been talking and I ain't even on the air. Sorry. Here we go, woman from the Who Cares file. Statement continues. If need be, turn around and go the other way to avoid interacting with a wild animal or in close proximity. This is the first reported incident in 2022 of a visitor threatening a bison. Getting too close to an animal is called threatening. It's funny, they won't do that with humans. You got a BLM member doing a chest bump, but that's not in close proximity, is it? Anyway, this is the first one in 2022, and I'll guarantee you there were probably none in 2021 or 2020. Guess what? Because the parks were closed. Yes, the parks were closed because of some wet market bat thing. And the bison responded to the threat by goring the individual. Bisons have injured more people in Yellowstone than, any other animal. They are unpredictable and can run 3 times faster than humans, but turn around and go the other way because they can't catch you, right? Yeah. The female victim was transported to a medical facility in Idaho for treatment. However, she later died from injuries because she was stupid and she wanted to get a selfie. Oh, this is cool. Watch me. I'm 25 years old, and if I'm at home and I'm playing my Xbox, I can walk right up to the bison, turn around, and get a picture. Yes. That's a village idiot. And yes, I feel sorry for her because life is gone. But guess what? Village idiots and court jesters have such a low demand on our society in their thinking, but a high demand in responsibility by our society. And this is a perfect example. Hence, it falls into the no one gives a rainbow unicorn poop about file. And let's go on to international news. We're going to run long today, which is fine. We got stuff to talk about. The Afghan Taliban launch a campaign to eradicate the poppy crop. Poopy poppy crop. After, the interaction in my brain is just short-circuiting. Washir, Afghanistan. Afghanistan Taliban rulers have begun a campaign to eradicate poppy cultivation, aiming to wipe out the country's massive production of opium and heroin, even as farmers fear their livelihoods will be ruined at a time of growing poverty. Now, the theory of government control, which we already know the Taliban is all about, but they're trying to find a way, a path into the mainstream of society by saying, oh, look what we did. While they continue to tell their women that we have the right to stone you to death on a street corner if I so desire. On a recent day in Washir district in southern Helmand province, armed Taliban fighters stood guard as a tractor tore up fields of poppies. The field owner stood nearby watching. The Taliban who took power in Afghanistan took power. Don't you love the English language and how these yutzes write stories? The Taliban, who took power in Afghanistan more than 9 months ago. No, they didn't take power. Somebody walked out. Never mind. Issued an edict early in April banning poppy cultivation throughout the country. Those violating the ban will be arrested and tried according to share law in relevant courts. The Taliban Deputy Interior Minister for Counter-Narcotics. Did you know they had a Counter-Narcotics division? Wow. Amullah Abdul, I'm not even going to try and say it, told the Associated Press in Helmand's provincial capital, Afghanistan is the world's biggest opium producer and a major source of heroin in Europe and Asia. Ooh. Who found that out? Production spiraled over the past 20 years, despite billions of dollars spent by the U.S. trying to stop poppy cultivation. Did you hear that? Let's put two and two together here, folks. Production spiraled over the last 20 years despite billions of dollars. That's all we can say. We lose our brothers and sisters, and all we can equate it to is the dollars we've spent. I'm going to tell you, we are so freaking upside down, and these people are leading the pack. Not the Afghans. I'm talking to people, the AP people who write this shit. But the ban will likely strike a heavy blow to millions of impoverished farmers and day laborers who rely on the proceeds from the crop to survive. The ban comes as Afghanistan economy has collapsed, cut off from international funding in the wake of the Taliban takeover. Can you say the same about Ukraine and Russia? Noor Muhammad, who owns a poppy field in Washir, was torn apart by the Taliban tractors. I wonder who sold them what kind of tractors they were. Alice Chalmers, John Deere, I don't know, New Holland, I don't know. Said his plot of land is small and lacks water, so he can't survive by going less profitable crops. Well, less profitable. He's still going to make money, but obviously not as much as the poppies. Yeah. If we're not allowed to cultivate this crop, we will not earn anything, he said. Yeah, that's because you planted the poppy crop, not the other crop, so you're not going to have anything. Yeah, that's pretty good. They call that trickle-down economics. Day laborers can earn up to $300 a month harvesting opium from the poppies. Villagers often rely on the promise of the upcoming poppy harvest to borrow money for staples, flour, sugar, cooking oil, heating oil. Helmand is the heartland of poppy cultivation in Afghanistan. It goes on and on and on. But here's a sidebar. But Afghanistan's production has steadily risen, reaching new heights every year in recent years. In 2021, 177,000 hectares, or 438 acres, were planted with poppies, yielding enough opium to produce 650 tons of heroin, according to estimates by the UN Office on Drugs and Crime. Well, there's the UN trying to do good again. This was an increase up from 590 tons of heroin in 2020. You get it? It's the free market. Don't you get that? It's the free market. The total value of Afghans' opiates production in 2021 was $1.8 to $2.7 billion, up 14% of the country's GDP, exceeding the value of its legal exports. So how did they get it out of the country? I'm just axing. During the first time in power in the late 90s, the Taliban also banned poppy cultivation with a fierce campaign of destroying croplands, nearly eradicated the production within 2 years, according to the United Nations. However, after the U.S.-led invasion had ousted the Taliban, many farmers returned to growing poppies. Why? Because, I don't know, I'm going to guess our troops, U.S. troops, protected the fields. I've heard many a returning service person make that statement. During the long years of Taliban insurgency, the movement reportedly made millions of dollars taxing farmers and middlemen to move their drugs outside of the country. Senior officials of the U.S.-backed government also reportedly made millions on the flourishing drug trade. Oh, no. U.S. officials made money exporting poppy heroin, blah, blah. Wow. Nearly 80% of the heroin produced from Afghan opium reaches Europe through Central Asia and Pakistan. I'm just saying, the swamp, is there a swamp? I'm going to ask that question. Is there a swamp? And now, let's reach over here and grab this next stack. if any of you have heard the stories of, excuse me while I scratch my head. If any of you have followed the stories on school systems anywhere in America, my America, your America, you may have heard the asinine story that came out a little while ago from Wisconsin. A lot of this is coming from Wisconsin. The Wisconsin School District closes Title IX case against boys who used wrong pronouns. Huh? You're going to question that, huh? The Kiel Area School District announced Thursday it has issued clear directives and expectations to all students involving this matter. For the purpose of preventing bullying and harassment and ensuring a safe and supportive learning environment for all of our students. Now, that said, where does that fall into? I mean, and I'm not slighting bullying. No, it happens. Based on these actions and pursuant to district policies and procedures, the school district considers this matter closed. The Board of Education said in a statement, what do we call that? It's called a PC statement, politically correct. Last month's controversy erupted last month when news broke. There was a press release. Somebody complained that the school district filed a Title IX complaint against 3 8th-grade boys who had not referred to one of their classmates by the student's preferred pronouns of they or them. 8th grade. Just stirring a pot. The district said that by refusing to use the students' preferred pronouns, the boys had sexually harassed their classmates under the Biden administration interpretation of Title IX rules. Can anybody say who gives a shit? I'm going to have to count the buzzers today. School officials face several violent threats from people outraged by the investigation, including bomb threats against the school and other local government institutions. A California man, now this is in Wisconsin, this is California, man was arrested for making death threats against a school district staff member. Things that make you go, The parents of the accused boys hired the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, a conservative legal group, to defend their children against the accusation. The group sent a letter, which there's a link to, and I didn't download it, to the district in May, arguing the school had violated the boys' First Amendment rights and the use of biologically correct pronouns does not constitute sexual harassment under Title IX or school policy. Now, an 8th grade person, they're just suggestions. Come on, people. I should call this show the Suggestion Show. In a June 2nd follow-up letter, attorneys for the parents maintained that Title IX investigation was inappropriate and that the case should be dismissed. Hours later, the district announced the matter had been closed. And a release from Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty said, and I didn't download any of those links, but I'm just looking at the asininity of this and what's going on in my school system through my tax dollars and your school system and tax dollars. These are the village idiots and court jesters that are running America right now. A school district files a lawsuit because somebody didn't use the word they or them. What? I'm befuddled. Where have we come to? We're pleased that the Keels Area School District has finally ended its misguided Title IX investigation, said Deputy Counsel Luke Berg. While the district's statement attempts to reframe the investigation, it was always primary about mispronouncing. CRT and administrators that think they're all that, and you're nothing as a parent, as a person who has an understanding of the English language, let alone, and I'm not a lawyer, but I play one on TV. A school district has somebody formulate the words to actually file a case. And knowing that maybe they don't know that they could never win something like that in a court of law once challenged. But I'm going to tell you that this use of proper pronouns, wanted pronouns within the minors of America, if I have a birth certificate, first I'll get a certificate of live birth. And then from that document, which is what the doctor files with the hospital, which files to the state issues a birth certificate. And then the birth certificate will have a name, Booby, for argument's sake. And mom and dad's name will be listed. And maybe it's Tony and Tony. Yes, male Tony, female Tony. Two entirely legitimate genetic names. So Booby belongs to Tony and Tony. They go to school, and what does the school demand when they walk in the door? This is a government entity. School says you have to give me a birth certificate, copy, not a copy of live birth, but a birth certificate. This is Booby. And he needs to be in school because the state says he's got to have inoculations and vaccinations and do this and that so he can settle into the milk and cookie hour in kindergarten. So Booby goes to school. And then some village idiot decides that Booby should really be, really wants to be known as Boobs, not Booby. But the school system has a legal document, copy thereof, or even a certified copy of a birth certificate, Booby. And Tony may or may not know that Booby wants to be called Boob. So off they go, and this classmate only knows this person as Booby. And one day, Booby, now identifying as Boob, said, "You can't call me Booby. My name is Boob. Identify as." And some person who was in the school district's office says, "Wait a minute. Yeah, Boob, you boys violated the law. And I don't give a rat's ass what Sniffin' Joe says in his edict. It's incidental. If you do not change the birth certificate and the records on file for this person, gender irrelevant, therefore the school district still continues to call him Booby. And because some liberal-ass libtard wants to say, no, we got to call him Boob, the whole system gets thrown into turmoil. Legally not, because the school and the state require that you submit legal documents that says his name is Booby. Well, this discussion can go on, but our collective intelligence of lawyers aren't intelligent enough to even follow that simple train of thought. So they file these erroneous investigations, wasting my tax dollars and your tax dollars. The waste goes on. All this whole show has been about people doing village idiot things that waste our tax dollars. We're pleased that the Kiel School District has finally ended its misguided Title 9 investigation. The Kiel School Board's announcement defends members of the administration and staff who, quote unquote, who have been criticized simply for carrying out the functions of their job. You tell them, I want to see their job description. Have you ever looked at a job? You know what a job description is? You go to work, I go to work, and it says you do this, that, and that, and I'll pay you this, that, and that. It's called a job description. And if you violate your job description, there is nothing that says school officials need to carry out this function from Sniffin' Joe. Who the hell is Sniffin' Joe? He's a wannabe president. Yes, I said it. While school Title IX investigation is closed, the Kiel Police Department said Friday, another download I didn't do, that law enforcement investigations into violent threats. Here we go. We're going to take the escalation because somebody got mad that you did something you shouldn't have done and voiced their opinion. Now, while making a bomb threat against a school is not necessarily a simple action. I give you that. That's kind of overboard. But the level, and I'm not going to rationalize it, but I am going to say simply this, that the rationalization of normal human beings has been tested beyond compare. And the community stood up in knocking that investigation down, which is what has to happen. We, the people, have to stand up when crap like this goes down. And this happened now recently in Lake Wish I Be Gone, that there was a, where is it? Let me find the article if I can quick. Oh, news and why it matters. It really doesn't matter. There was 3 school districts in Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin now that have had threats made to them. School was closed. School's out pretty much for the year. And but yet there were copycat. This whole thing, Uvalde and before, that now copycat incidences are on the rise. And I'll tell you exactly, that is exactly what's going on. And we, the people, parents, grandparents, need to be put on our bobbleheads and keep an eye on what's going on here. And it's all with one thought in mind, and that is to take away your guns. You recognize this bimbet? Our favorite Native American. Yeah, baby. I can close. Hang on, I got to close this one because we talked about it. There it is, right there. Coming at you, right there. Coming at you out of Breitbart. Now, some of you question this news source. Never forget, Democrats want to remove cops from your schools. You know that. And if you don't, you better wake up. Now, don't get woke. Get woken up. Democratic Party can never be allowed to forget how hard it has worked to expel police officers from schools. Do you get that? Do you comprehend? Do you comprehend that in any way, shape, or form? What these people are doing? At the state and local levels, Democrats have continued to push to remove police and leave children, school children defenseless. Why? Why would Democrats demand police be removed from schools and replaced with gay porn and transsexual propaganda? I'm asking you. CRT is what they're talking about. And or the drag shows. Absolutely. Here's 4 senators, or 4 elected representatives, senators, Congress people. Chris Murphy, Connecticut. Elizabeth Warren. Oh, Lizzie, our friend. That's her. Lizzie, the loudmouth who shakes because she's so upset because she can't have your guns. We need to do something. Ilhan Anna Presley and Ilhan Omar introduced a bill that would prohibit federal money from being used to fund police in schools. Can you believe? Do you get that? They introduced a bill to not have police in schools today. And guess who is fully on board? The legislation has the backing of two major teachers' unions. You find anything interesting about that? The American Federation of Teachers, the AFT, and the National Education Association, NEA. It also has the support of a number of civil rights organizations, including the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights and the Human Rights Campaign. We're going to have to do a story on those people. Or hopefully a Judicial Watch or somebody will be doing something. Why would Democrats and powerful school unions want to leave children defenseless? To any maniac who wants CNN to make them famous. Why would teachers' unions want to leave their own people defenseless? Aren't unions supposed to look out after the people they represent? Novel idea. Chris Murphy speaks to a reporter in D.C. on June 23rd, 2021. It's an old picture. 2/3 of American high school students attend a school with a police officer. According to the Urban Institute, that proportion is higher for students of color. Wait a minute. How can that be? How can students of color have more of something than the average white guy? I don't get that. What's fair about that? School systems in Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Denver, Portland, Oregon, and 2 districts in the Bay Area have all moved in recent weeks to suspend or phase out ties with police. Can you imagine this? Where the hell are your village idiots thinking? The think tanks. They don't have the ability to think. Excuse me. When Minneapolis school students go back to school in the fall, they'll find the hallways free of police. The local school board announced June 2nd that it would cancel its contract with the Minneapolis Police Department. In doing so, officials satisfied a long-standing demand of the local teachers union and other local activists. Quote, kind of overnight people woke up, said Greta Callahan, the president-elect of the Minneapolis Federation of Teachers, Local 59. I don't stay up late at night thinking this stuff up. As part of the approval of the city budget Tuesday evening, all 12 Rochester police officers, known as school resource officers, designated to work within city schools, were eliminated as part of an amended city budget, ultimately removing the officers from posts within city school districts for the 2021 school year. That was last year. Denver schools became the 3rd district in 2 weeks to sever $1 million contracts with city police department to remove officers from the school. And they're all just lining up. I don't know. Here's what we know for a fact. We know evil is going to shoot up schools. We know corporate media will never stop incentivizing shootings at schools. Thanks to our pro-school shooting media, every school shooter knows that shooting up a school will give him or her exactly what he wants, the power to shake up the country. Andy Warhol said you get 15 minutes of fame and glory. I'll bet maybe these kids don't know that quote, but you and I as adults do know that quote. And you know all this, and yet Democrats still want to remove cops from schools. So every time I always ask myself, the American flag with a blue line in it. Now, I support cops that do their job according to their job description. And when morally correct, do the things that are not in their job description within the limits of what normal people would say is a normal limit? The answer is simple. There's no greater propaganda tool to push the disarming of American people than school shootings. We have to do it for the kids. Enough is enough. We have to do something. Isn't that the cry of today? Police in schools stop and discourage school shootings. Yes, when they walk into the school and do what it is they have to do. When they don't walk into the school and turn around and twiddle their thumbs because they're either afraid or not trained properly in how to put the threat down. Yes, I wasn't there. I get it. But this circles back to the conversation that I had before about when the building's burning or the airplane crashes, everybody's running out, but a group of people run in. They care. And this runs right down the limit, right down the same road as a criminal caring or not caring and police caring and not caring. And when you arrest and detain parents and maybe off-duty officers, you handcuff them and prevent them from going in and doing what they need to do, irregardless of the cost of their lives, to save their children or someone else's child. You're in the wrong, and I don't back you. I'm sorry. It has gotten to that stage of the game. And that's no disrespect to the people who do those things. I know many of them. And of course, when you disarm and take police out of the schools, and we didn't have cops in schools when I went to school, but my daughter, my grandkids, they have police in their schools. They're called school resource officers. And aren't they supposed to be the pillar and support to our kids that we entrust to our school administrators, who constantly prove that they can't administer doodly squat? Excuse me, not COVID. Democrats and the school unions that own Democrats and the left-wing media do not want to protect schools. Here it is. Because Democrats and the unions have their media believe disarming public is a higher priority than your child's life. John Nolte is the person who made up this report. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know that these 4 representatives introduced that bill to defund the police. We have a better way, but they don't say what the better way is. Who is it that's going to walk into a school and disarm a perpetrator? Ain't going to be some master of social work. Ain't going to do it. We get on the PA system. I think we need to stop shooting. Why don't you come to the principal's office and we'll talk about it? I'm sorry. Not happening. But that story leads I'm not even going to go into this thing, but I want to know. I'm going to do it anyway. Memorial Day. Where were y'all on Memorial Day? I challenge each and every one of you, especially our elected officials. Robin Voss, where were you? I challenged you in open media the other day to give me your itinerary for Memorial Day. Did you sit on your ass at home, have bratwurst, listen to music, maybe have some friends come over, or did you go to a ceremony? If you went to a ceremony, be happy to read it. I'd love for you to submit your itinerary for Memorial Day. News at the Just Jim Show. I'd be happy to read it. I'm going to then blame, yes, I'm going to offload the blame. Local news story just prior to Memorial Day. Several Memorial Day events are taking place this weekend in the Northwoods. One of those events is a ceremony at the Northwoods National Cemetery in Harshaw, Wisconsin, west of Rhinelander. Ceremony. This is now talking about the ceremony at the Northwoods National Cemetery. Don't get me started on my part and parcel of that cemetery. The cemetery will begin the ceremony will begin at 11:30 a.m. Will include a flyover, a presentation of colors by the Tomahawk Area Veterans Honor Guard, along with speeches and music. A luncheon will follow at the Cajun Town Hall. The Northwoods National Cemetery became the second national cemetery in Wisconsin when it opened in 2020. Has Donald T's name on the wall pack. I have this somewhere right here. Footage of what didn't happen at that cemetery on Memorial Day. This article right here is the media's output. Misinformation. And I haven't seen a reply from the officer yet in the county as to what actually happened at Northwood Cemetery, National Cemetery, versus the Union Grove Cemetery, which is right across the street, which is a recognized Wisconsin war memorial, and the center that the event of the day is the event on Saturday before Memorial Day that had the honor guard speeches, music, and the luncheon were all affiliated and attached to the Union Grove Cemetery's event on Saturday before Memorial Day, not the National Cemetery. And I blame our local television statement for having a village idiot, youngsters that don't know their ass from the hole in the ground, to write a story that is proper and precise. You people need to go back to school. Oh, no, don't go to school. Talk to a vet. Talk to somebody who knows the news, not some teleprompter bimbo or bimbet or whatever, and come up with something the likes of this. This is a newsprint story. Absolutely false, absolutely misinformation. And you know something? If we had a misinformation committee like we have on Facebook and other places, this shit wouldn't happen. This pisses me off to no end. Your local news media constantly feeds you and yours misinformation, and you're not smart enough to know it. This is absolutely ludicrous that this is allowed to take place, that the government gives them a license to put this shit out. Yeah, you got my ire. I'm going to tell you. And part B of my ire, right here. We get these news flashes from different government bodies because they're made to publish the news stories, their meeting notices. Here's a great one, right here. Yeah. Let me put a little music up here. This is the category in the farmer's cornfield that this story belongs to. And your tax dollars and my tax dollars are paying for it. Oneida County Tourism Diversity Advisory Panel application. Did you get that? Tourism Diversity Advisory Panel application. Oneida County Tourism Council, OCTC, recently received a grant to the Wisconsin Department of Tourism to research the diversity, accessibility, equity, and inclusion, DAEI, in the travel experience to Oneida County. Duh. The research will be used to create a pathway to diversify our travel base while reviewing our accessibility, equity, and inclusion for all travelers. We are inspired to create positive travel experiences for all. Our first step is to create a tourism. This is step number 1. That means there's 2, 3, 4, 5 on down the line. Our first step is to create a tourism diversity advisory panel that will work with the OCTC Marketing Committee. Money. The panel will engage in an open conversation related to DAEI issues and travel to Oneida County. We're talking Wisconsin here. We're looking for committed individuals. Committed. You mean those who should be committed, who provide a unique perspective and willingness to contribute to these important discussions. Interested individuals are asked to complete the following form for consideration on the panel as we look to represent the DAEI spectrum. This will lead me to the next story. And will be kept confident. This will be kept confidential. We'll never know who you are that's going to spend our tax dollars. Bullshit. We'll know because I'm going to put an FOIA in. I'm going to know exactly who's on that committee and what their meeting intentions are because it's our tax dollars. And by law, they have to tell us when and where and accessibility options for them to have their meeting. That's the law. Read the job description. They are asked solely to create a diverse and well-rounded representation of the area. I'm telling you, Survey Monkey, somebody wrote it, and I know exactly who they are. Somebody published it. And I'll guarantee you that there will be applicants coming out of the woodwork for that diversity discussion. Right here. Here's our fearless leader. Do we have this over here? Let me go see if I can find it. Nope. There he is, right there. There's our buddy. There it is. Following in the footsteps of that diversity panel quest, Wisconsin Governor Evers says the GOP will ban books if he loses. Oh, no, we're going to lose books. Oh, no. Well, I'm going to call it like I see it. This is a personal editorial. This son of a bitch decides that he wants to fly the gay pride flag on a flagpole last year, and we did the story last year, on a flagpole that contains the U.S. flag, the Never Forgotten flag, and the gay pride flag, all on the same flagpole. Violates federal flag law. But he's above the law. It's just a suggestion. And now he's going to run his campaign on this bull. Evers said Wednesday at a ceremony kicking off Pride Month, if he loses his re-election bid in November, Republicans will take the breathtaking step to ban books, not particularly, but exactly those related to the LGBTQ community. Evers made his comments after a ceremony outside the state building where a Progress Pride flag was raised, symbolizing the inclusion of marginalized people within the LGBTQ community. Evers, who voted to always stand with the LGBTQ community, was the first governor to ever raise a rainbow flag over the Capitol in 2019. So that's when I did it. He was asked if he feared the tradition would end if a Republican beats him. Evers said he was concerned about any progress made for the LGBTQ community being rolled back. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Oh, yeah. He referred to efforts by some Republican lawmakers who are looking into books available at school libraries across the state. Wisconsin Examiner reported on Tuesday on Republicans who are gathering lists of books covering LGBTQ topics and characters, as well as issues of gender identity or sexuality. Quote, unquote, they are going to be putting themselves in charge of banning books in the state of Wisconsin, and you can be damn sure that Some of it's going to be directly related to LGBTQ community efforts. Evers said, quote, just think about that. This legislature and Republican governor would be banning books in the state of Wisconsin. It's breathtaking. It's breathtaking, my ass. You used to run the Department of Education before you got your sorry ass elected to the governor's office with some guy who has zero political knowledge, which is not a bad thing, but was severely in debt to the state for taxes. Yes, Mandela. And now you're going to run and try and think you're going to be better at Senator Johnson's, a sitting senator, than the sitting senator? Sorry, Bubba. Go back to your condo. Republicans running for governor either did not comment or did not directly address Evers' comments about banning books. Banning a book is not the term. It's the English language being manipulated by Scott Bauer. They don't ban a book. You'll simply remove them from the curriculum of our children. Does that make sense to anybody? Former Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish's campaign spokesman, Alex Zimmerman, said she supports the legalization of same-sex marriage, and she has moved on from this debate. Clayfish in 2010 said that same-sex marriage could result in people marrying dogs, tables, or clocks. She then later apologized. Why? Because that's what's going on. Some yuts in, Japan had a virtual woman that he couldn't relate to. I don't know. However, she wouldn't fly the pride flag. Specifically on the same flagpole, one flagpole that has the United States flag on it, my flag, your flag, the never forgotten flag, which is the only authorized, excuse me, not COVID, the only authorized second flag to fly on the flagpole with the United States of America's flag on it. Yeah, go look it up. If you don't believe me, if you don't believe Just Jim, you go look it up and learn something. Read the U.S. flag law. Construction company owner Tim Michaels did not say in a statement whether he would fly the flag or not. I think people of all sexual orientations would rather not have the government call them non-essential, close businesses, schools, and churches, and make bad decisions that cause the price of gas to approach $5 a gallon. Tony Evers is more interested in flags than he is in solving any of the problems of his creation. Well, they'll give you the election campaign crap. Nicholson spokesman Courtney Mullen did not directly answer the question about banning books, saying in a statement only that he supports full curriculum transparency. Which, stand for something or get the hell out of the way. I'm sorry. Y'all claim to be this, that, or the other thing, and this is the bullshit that you dance around with. You get exactly that when you dance. Bull. Or, as we talked about in France, you get poked in the arm with a needle when you dance. Parents should have the right to get their kids out of environments where they believe inappropriate material is taught. And I'm just tongue-tied. State Rep Timothy Ramthun did not immediately return messages. The winner of the August 9th primary will advance to face Evers. Republican-controlled state legislators are widely expected to maintain and possibly grow their majorities after the fall election. If Republican governor, anything the legislature passes could be signed into law. Excuse me. Evers has vetoed more bills over his 3 years plus as governor than any other governor in the state history. Right there. That liberal. Oh, but you want to know something? And I have pictures of it, of him doing city work, shoveling tar into holes, filling potholes. He's not a union member. Him and his entourage are standing around the back of a truck where a union person is supposed to be doing highway work. But no, he has his entourage float around. I think I went to 4 cities in Wisconsin last year. Gets union workers out of the way, and then decides to have a photo op of him dishing out some cold patch into a hole. Did he pay union dues for that while he did union work? Hello? Anybody home? Oh, it's a great photo op. That's all it was. He violates the union codes. Where's the union rep? Where were you, buddy, when he runs around lifting a shovel that's a union shovel? This is the mentality of this bobblehead. If a Republican, never mind. Evers has vetoed more bills in his 3 years as any other governor in the state's history. 1848. He emphasizes in his re-election bid that he is the only person preventing Republicans from enacting broad policy changes affecting elections, abortion rights, gun laws, and now LGBT rights. That's right. There isn't one person in the state of Wisconsin other than him that knows what the hell he's doing. He's a czar, a wannabe czar. And using kids. You see the picture there? You see it? I'm sure you did see it. This is what's going on. Village idiots running the show. Court jesters dancing around the village idiots. And wood ticks. And I don't have that picture up anymore. Sorry. And what was this one? Well, we could go on for another 5 hours here. We're going to do a podcast shortly. All of this stuff will be out on podcast, so you don't have to miss a minute of our talks. And with that, I think I probably should. What do we got? Oh, my God, I did almost 2 hours today. Wow. Marvelous. And I'm going to, I should, oh, God. Do I? Do you remember, do you remember? I need to have a do you remember slate. Do you remember a picture that came out of South Vietnam? And the article is misrepresented. Did we just talk about that? What do we got? 1 minute here? I'm going to go Papaloo in 1 minute. Anyway, did we? Yes, I did. I mentioned these are some very disturbing. I'm kind of tongue-tied here. I'm trying to catch my thought train. The South Vietnamese girl who was running down the street naked, 9-year-old young lady, Route 1 during Tran Bang after the aerial napalm attack. Now, this was blamed on U.S. troops, but it wasn't. It was later corrected in a itty-bitty mean little byline that it was actually North Korea that dropped the napalm. Oh. But propaganda. Do you remember what propaganda is? And that's exactly what Evers is doing and the Democratic Party by their actions, not by their bylaws, their conscripts, their constitutions. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. And they're never held responsible. They're continually voted in because of propaganda that they put out, they spew out. And it's nonstop. I have a package of World War II propaganda photos. I've been hesitant to throw them up on the air. But at some point, things like this have to be shown simply because it's a dose of reality that it isn't pleasant. People don't want to really see it. They don't want to remember. And I get it. I'm a 4 o'clock somewhere kind of guy. Jimmy Buffett says it's all fun. You get to a certain age and you're just supposed to sit back, retire, enjoy your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids. But the powers that be continue to just not let that happen. And I've said this for probably the last 4 or 5 years. This cannot end well. And that's not a good statement. This cannot end well. The way things are going, the way things are being thrown at the wall, excuse me, we joke about it. The monkeys throw shit at the wall and hope something sticks. It's exactly what politicians are doing. I'm not saying righty-lefty. I'm saying politicians. They all do it. And it's time it stops. Can't end well. And the end result is stuff like this. This is the stuff that happens when people keep throwing shit at the wall. Remember this photo? I don't remember if it had a Pulitzer Prize attached to it or not. This is what happens, and this is the propaganda we get from it. And I got small statues of it. It is the pride of 5th Division. I get it. But this is also what happens to people who are bystanders. And in Ukraine, it's happening the same way. What do we do? People don't get it. This is a predecessor to the Tiananmen Square. And you see, do you find a common thread here? This is our human nature right here. Right here. This is, for the love of God, I can't stand this anymore. Sorry, I got to put this off because I don't like, I talk a story, but I don't like watching that crap. But that's the dose of reality. And that's what this network is all about. You're watching the Just Jim Show on the Dose of Reality Network. I will close with this. I'm saying, God bless. You better take care of each other because when it's all over, that is all we have, each other. You better figure out a way to stop throwing shit at the wall. I'll hit off the air. I'll hit the red button a couple of times for that. But it's about you need to turn around and you need to start understanding that's it. This can't end well the way we're going. Not going to end well at all. God bless. We'll talk to you later. We're talking about going a couple days a week, obviously starting a podcast, ripping the audio off of this, and some after-hours discussions. Be good to each other. We'll talk at you later.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars